Over the past 6 months, I found more than 50 abandoned cemeteries in Annapolis County, some deep in the woods, and others real close to civilization. But the old Chute Cemetery is the closest to home. It's right at the western outskirts of Bridgetown, just past the welcome sign, but still within town limits. These graves for Chute, Foster, Potter, and Poole were all lying down when I found them, sunk in the dirt and swept in with leaves for who knows how many decades. There's not a burial newer than 1891 among them, so that's plenty of time to get forgotten. This is the kind of history you can expect to find here in my homeland, where some folks living feet away don't have a clue about it. I was no different most of my life, driving this stretch of highway since I was too young to remember, on my way back and forth to Annapolis Royal, back when I believed the dead were remembered. I figured, hey, we live on the oldest settled ground in Canada, so why wouldn't preservation of the past be most on our minds? We've overlooked a lot that came after the beginning. Once the Acadian and Loyalist stories are done, we skip softly over the dead between them and the present. But there's more history here than anyone can manage, crowded in with countless mortal memories, and those are just the ones that are marked. Beyond the groves of stones are the dead of centuries, countless in their numbers, and you'll never name them all. This can't be for me. With no dead of my own in these places, no family history at all in Nova Scotia, I do all of my remembering for others. What became of their descendants, I can't say. Perhaps they're busy or living away, maybe too elderly for the effort, or even as dead as their ancestors themselves. Or maybe it's just that no one knows where to look, that the location of burials are lost to living memory, and no one would have let them sink this low if they'd known. I've never been much for puzzles, mysteries, or riddles, but putting the pieces of the past in their place has a satisfaction unlike anything else. When I first found Thomas Chute last autumn, he was buried in leaves, young shoots growing through his cracks. He was covered with trash dumped here by the neighbors, who either didn't care or didn't notice what they'd done. It's tough to tell the difference between ignorance and uncaring, but the final result seems the same. Sometimes taking notice is the only antidote needed. Looking at something and telling the story so that no one can claim what was somehow wasn't. Connecting the dots in dirt, lifting them as far as you can for the moment, while the bones sink ever deeper below. Just when I thought I was finished, I spotted one last stone curled up at the base of a tree, under the blanket of leaves. It was Ethel Foster, wife of Oliver and mother of Joseph. They've been here since the early 1860s, when the prevalent pandemic in these parts was diphtheria. She died at 39 in April 1863, less than a year after her son, who never had a second birthday. I stayed into the last of the light, sat with these stones as the sun set over the North Mountain ridges. I watched low rays get caught in the names of Thomas, Zipporah, and Eliakim Chute, in the letters of Mary Potter and Anzanetta Poole, lifted to the sun again. I waited while the yellow light turned slowly golden, warmer hues shaped from blinding April sun. I sat until I felt the thirst and hunger calling me home, the very human reminder that I'm living while so many others are not. Maybe this afternoon's effort will survive me. That's the reason for all the stories I'm telling, getting it out there, so I won't be